Well, good evening, everyone. I will call the West Richland City Council meeting for December 3rd, 2024 to order at 6 p.m. And before we get started, I'll ask Stephanie to read the ground rules for a hybrid meeting and then call the roll. Stephanie, if you would, please.
Tonight's meeting will be held in person with a virtual meeting component. If you are participating virtually, please make sure the name shown at the bottom of your video view is the name you would like the mayor to use. You can change this by right-clicking on your video view and selecting Rename. Audience members present in the council chambers will be called upon first during public comment periods. Those participating remotely should virtually raise your hand if you wish to speak. To virtually raise your hand, click on Participants and then click on Raise Hand. If you are participating by phone only, press *9 to raise your hand. Please limit all comments to 3 minutes. Okay, roll call. Brent Gary,
Here.
Richard Bloom,
Here.
Fred Brink,
Here.
David Fetto,
Here.
May Hayes,
Here.
Kate Moran,
Present.
John Smart,
Here.
Stoker.
Here.
Councilmember Smart, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
Yes.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Smart. Appreciate that. Council, the agenda is before you this evening. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, council. We do not have any presentations this evening, so that brings us to the consent agenda, which consists of approved minutes of the regular meeting November 19th, Resolution 6724 amending the master fee schedule for the FBI fee adjustment, Resolution 6824 authorizing the mayor to sign a security and improvement agreement for Riesling Estates, Resolution 6924 authorizing the mayor to execute a reimbursement agreement with Benton REA. Motion to approve Keene Road Phase 4 Pathway Project. Motion to approve final plat of Riesling Estates, file number plat 013-2024. Is there anyone from the audience who'd like to speak to our consent agenda this evening? Seeing no one in house, is there anyone virtually would like to speak to the consent agenda this evening? If so, raise your virtual hand or *9 to be recognized. I see no one virtually. Stephanie, do you?
I do not.
Okay, so we were gonna go ahead and all in favor, let's see, I have a motion, please, for the consent. I've already done that one. For the consent agenda, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. I'm sorry.
I
Long
move to
travels today.
approve. I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you, council. This is the first opportunity for citizen public comment. If anyone would like to address council this evening, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. See no one in house. Anybody virtually, *9 or raise your virtual hand to be recognized. See no one virtually. Stephanie, do you?
I do not see anyone, no.
And move on to ordinances, resolutions, motions, and public hearing. Item 8A is a resolution adopting changes to the city's salary schedule for the 2025-2026 biennium. We'll have our human resource manager, Selena Smathers, present her staff report. Selena.
Good evening, council. Is that good? So as you know, we adopt a new salary schedule with every budget cycle. So this is the proposed 2025-2026 salary schedule. Everything that's in here has already been passed with the budget, but just to kind of give you an overview, We do not have additional full-time positions in here. We're not hiring additional people. We do have a placeholder for the IT help desk position because we do hope that we find the funds for that and we can move forward when that happens. A lot of these changes are title changes, promotional opportunities, things like that. As we had spoke about 2 years ago, this salary schedule was really expected to last us a couple budgets, hopefully 3 budgets. So I just wanted you to know that the max end of the range of the salary schedule is not increasing on anything except one position. It is a project engineer position. We did increase the max end of that by $1,000 a month. Project engineer is one of those positions that we really have a hard time filling. So in order to keep some of our projects going, we felt that was necessary. Other than that, that really concludes my presentation.
Is there anyone from the audience who'd like to speak to this agenda item this evening? See no one in house and virtually *9 or raise your virtual hand to be recognized. I see no one virtually. Stephanie, do you? Okay, thank you. Council, may I have a motion, please?
I move to pass Resolution 70-24, adopting the 2025-2026 salary schedule.
Second.
Second, are there any questions of Selena that have not been answered in her staff report this evening? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on with no unfinished business this evening, or do we have any new business? So this is the opportune time for the second citizen public comment. If you'd like to address council, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And we'll have 3 minutes for you.
Dan Ritchie, 508 Austin Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. 2 things that I wanted to bring up. Do it every year. Do it again this year. Bikes for Tykes is coming up. It's coming up this Thursday. And I want to stress that it's Thursday, not Friday like usual. And we had a conflict, so we had to adjust for that. So anyway, hope you can join us. It'll be a hoot. We're going to have about 700 to 800 volunteers there, and plus a bunch of others. And this year we're going to have less adult supervision because the Hanford contractors can't be there because it's a work day and they don't get credit and blah, blah, blah. And so it should be interesting. So come on out and join us and have a good time, unless you're on a cruise or something. The other thing I wanted to mention is we made the rural light. So Bikes for Tykes, we've got a really good article in the Benton REA Rural Light this month. And I encourage you all to take a look at it. And I'm really, really proud of the things that Bikes for Tykes has been able to accomplish. And I appreciate this little bit of acknowledgement here. So, okay, thank you.
Good. All right. Is there anyone virtually who would like to address council this evening? Raise your virtual hand or *9 to be recognized. I see no one virtually. Stephanie, do you?
I do not.
I'm going to go ahead and move on to council announcements, reports, and comments, as well as staff. We have any staff that has any comments or reports this evening? Mr. Slade.
Yeah, Mayor and I both have a car lag.
Jet lag, car lag.
So we were over in Tacoma this morning at a Washington Highway Users Federation meeting. So we got an update on the state's general fund budget and the transportation budget, and really looking at the revenue shortfalls. They had the state's chief economist there with a presentation. So I'll get that from that group and I'll forward it on to Aaron, our finance person, and to council. It's just interesting how the state looks at revenue projections and where they see the economy going. So it was really interesting. We had the opportunity to also listen to a panel that talked about how projects, the issues with project escalation and cost escalations and the key components with it, what they saw. And it was kind of interesting because you had somebody from labor, you had somebody that represented the contractors, DOT, and I can't think of the fourth one, but they all had a little different perspective on the different things, and there wasn't just one thing that was driving it. It's just combination across the board. But one of the things that was clear is mega projects that are too big, that you have limited competition or very few contractors that can handle them, that they need to break those up. So that was one of the key points. We also took the opportunity. There was Representative Fye and Representative Barkus. They're on the House Transportation Committee. Also there was Senator Elias and Senator King, which is on the Senate side of the transportation. So we took the opportunity to say hi. So it's nice when they know your name. AWC was there, Fred, so it was well represented. There's pretty big contingency, not a lot of great news. They've got a big deficit to fill, and anybody that was looking to get a project funded, not going to happen. They're trying to fix what's preservation, maintenance, and complete what they already promised to complete, but they've got some uphill challenges. Right now, DOT has projects on hold from bidding, and so that is a major concern on our SR 224 Red Mountain. We're at a point where we're almost done with right of way, and we want to go to add in March. And right now, the projects, DOT's got all the projects on hold. So we'll be working with our legislators to make sure our project is one that moves forward and doesn't get delayed. Again, that only adds more cost. And right now, it's on schedule, on budget. So we'll see where that goes. Stay tuned. The other thing, you should have received an email last week, as if we didn't have enough projects and grant funding. Well, we never turn it down, but 2 more TIB grants, pretty exciting. Payment preservation. So Keene Road, basically from Kennedy or city limits with Richland back to Bombing Range. We got $400,000 grant to do a mill and fill overlay. So look for that in 2026. And then the other one was a $20,000 grant to, or maybe a $780,000. I think it's $780,000 grant to put a traffic signal at South Highlands and Keene. And one of the key factors was that is you look at that regional pathway on the north side. If you're on the south side, the 2 safe places you can cross are Belmont and Bombing Range. And so we did a good job telling the story for the need. And so that got funding. Again, look for that. Design in 2025 and constructing in 2026. So a couple more projects, again, trying to chip away at that Keene Road corridor. And I had one more thing. Oh, utility committee. I just publicly sorry for all the work I'm putting you guys through. They just did scoring on our consultant statement of qualifications for a 2 million gallon reservoir on Belmont. And we had 3 quality consultants submit that. Now we get to do interviews next. So they'll be back here Tuesday night doing interviews. So we'll hopefully get a selection on that consultant, move forward. And then they just turned in scoring for our well 12R. That's a new well that we'll be looking at drilling. They're on Cooperative Way, just north of the substation behind the raceway. And so we're keeping them busy. Their next task will be going through the general sewer plan. So again, apologize keeping you guys busy. So
Oscar, touch base a little bit about what we talked about with our representatives as well as Jennifer in regards to the DOT putting things on hold for now, but how close we will be working with the representatives as well as what Jennifer's, she chairs the Federal Highway Commission, the meeting we were at today. So just touch base a little bit about how we plan to stay in tune with.
Yeah, so we learned today that right now the legislators are already meeting. You've got the governor-elect and his team trying to get in place. They've set up, I think, 12 subcommittees. Senator Elias is one of them, and one of those 12 priorities is transportation. And while everything stopped and there's concerns with money, they are looking at 38 projects. Which ones can they release? And we got Red Mountain's one of the 38. But we need to make sure it's one of the 38 that gets funded. So we'll be following up with Jennifer to see if we need to start having meetings, make sure they clearly understand that out of the 32 parcels that we needed to acquire, we're down to the last 2 or 3. They could be complete by December, meaning the right of way gets certified in January. We're ready to go out for bids at March and start construction in June, as long as we got the green light and can do it. So we're going to start those discussions with Jennifer. I know we'll be up there in January, but we may be making a trip sooner than that because they're already starting deliberating on which projects get to go to ad and which ones have to wait to the end of the session. We don't know, but we're going to start making those calls.
Want to let everybody know that we're not gonna slow down. We're gonna keep pushing and moving forward because it's very critical that we make this happen. If it doesn't get to this budget cycle, then you end up at 20.
One of the things when they're there, because you have all four there in one spot, they're captive. They're looking for a win. We basically told them we got a projects on budget, on schedule. So if you're looking for one project in the state, that West Richland's your project. So
The poster child project that we took from Department of Transportation and bring it in on time and on budget. So, yeah, what a concept, right? So we'll keep everybody in tune on that one. Anyone else staff wise? No. Council? Councilmember Bloom?
Well, I was going to follow up with a question for Roscoe.
Sure.
Roscoe, tonight, I sort of understand why we have so many wrecks at Keene and Kennedy. With the upgrade with Costco going in, are we going to put a turn signal in? I mean, a turn arrow?
yeah, so we don't have a lot of accidents at Keene and Kennedy since we over a year ago got rid of the flashing yellow. For whatever reason, people couldn't figure that out. And so we changed it. So you have to have a green arrow to make a left. With Costco, we did do a mitigation agreement with them, $140,000. And so that funds phase one, which is putting in additional turn head signals. So as the left turns are coming off of Keene, you'll be able to have an arrow that make a right turn. So that'll help with traffic. Long term, phase two is about $1.5 million, and it's widening out that intersection. But right now the modeling showing not till 2032 or 34.
Won't be a left turn off of Kennedy onto Keene.
There is, but we're not widening to make, there's a through and a left.
Oh, but no signal.
There is a signal
Oh, it's green, just green.
for left turn.
Left turn onto Keene from Kennedy.
Okay, I'll have to look into it,
Okay.
Richard, but two green. Okay, I'll look into it and see, Richard, I can't speak to it. I do know while we got TIB grants, the city of Richland received 2. And so they'll be putting 2 roundabouts on Dupertail where Kennedy comes in and the entrance into Walmart there. Those 2 bad intersection of Dupertail. They'll have roundabouts there. But yeah, there'll be some work being done at Keene and Kennedy before Costco opens, and then there'll be even more in the future.
I took the bus onto Kennedy and, off of Keene because nobody can get to a bus on Keene. So,
Councilmember Smart?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up a couple of topics that I'm hoping that council doesn't let slip. I brought up some concerns about our policy concerning proclamations. Not looking to discuss that now, but I think that there might be some opportunity to modify our procedures on that. And also on my list of things to do is to look at potentially modifying RM6 zoning so that we can create a city with some predetermination like we were hoping to. Right now, when we have RM6, it goes everything from, what I like to say is the Bird Hill type standard development homes all the way to very, 21-foot frontage type of row homes with very small lots and sometimes hardly any yard. So I just think there's a great distinction between those two. And if at all possible, and of course, I've talked to Eric, and it's just one of those things that I think is somewhat broken in our zoning system. So when we look at a map as council and decide on zoning, you know, we have a preset thinking process going on there. You know, this is commercial, this is light industrial, this is residential, this is low density residential, et cetera. And I think that those lines are blurred. And I understand maybe I need to learn more about what the state requires, but as long as there's zoning options, I think we should make them make a little more sense than what RM6 does right now. So that and the proclamations topic, I just think that particular topic, we felt a little bit of discomfort last time this came up for some of us, and I think that needs to be considered. I think we need to look at the potential for what proclamations we'll be asked to make in the future and make a decision before that time happens as to how we're going to deal with that. So just wanted to keep those two things on the front burner. Thank you.
And that conversation has already been had in the senior staff, as well as the promised discussion furthermore of fireworks too. So we'll make sure that everybody has a fair shake of what they wish to talk about when the time allows, for sure. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Councilmember Moran.
Thank you. That reminded me that I was wondering if we would be able to perhaps get just a list of items that are on like the parking lot, so to speak, so that we know kind of what to look forward to kind of, I don't know, prep or whatever, just so that we know what we're looking forward to that senior staff is going to be working on for future meetings. I would really love to see that.
And as
Things
we-
like fireworks and,
Sure.
yeah.
And as we had the discussion in our budget cycle, not too long ago, we realized that we don't have staff to address a lot of those different things. So the parking lot will continue to have a handicap sticker right in front of the parking lot. And when we have the ability to address a lot of the items that are of concern, hopefully we'll be able to address those things when staff is available to do so. But we'll do what we can with what we have to work with.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm wondering then if we were going to be able to have a way to look at those items and kind of what we did similar a couple years back, have a way to prioritize which ones we'd like to look at. And I know that some are going to have priority no matter what we decide priority is, but if there are any that we can choose priority on, I would love to have that opportunity to do so.
Mayor Pro Tem Brink.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two things. Next week, I will be attending a board meeting for the Association of Washington Cities. Some of the things we're going to look at and finalize our legislative priorities for the state legislature going into 2025. And one other thing that I will point out is each of you should have in front of you a little flyer with the United Way of Benton and Franklin counties. I had a conversation with John Edmondson. He's the city manager for the city of Richland. He is looking for a representative from the city of West Richland to join the board, the United Way Board of Benton and Franklin counties. So there's an information sheet just with some of the commitment that might be involved of doing so. But at the present time, our city is not represented. So I told him that I would pass this on to senior staff as well as council. It does not have to be an elected official, but just having a representative from the city. So you can take that if you want any further information. I can help you with the basics, and then I'd probably put you in touch with the city manager in Richland for the next step. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Seeing nothing else this evening, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 6:23. Thank you, council.